it's TaiChiWorkshops is the Mandarin. In Cantonese, they call it Taigit Kun, but it's no longer treated as a martial arts as such. I think there are only 2 schools now outside of China that are actually teaching it as a means of self-defense. But the whole form of TaiChiWorkshops is built up really for now inner awareness, consciousness, concentration, balance, and so it's so light and gentle.
In that sense, it relates to things like yoga and so on.
Yes, probably more so, because TaiChiWorkshops has 8 sections. A lot of people only think the form is TaiChiWorkshops. This is wrong. If anybody's just teaching a form, then they're not teaching TaiChiWorkshops. They're only teaching a segment. There are 8 sections that make up the whole form, which is purely for concentration, getting muscle changes in the body that enables you to have the channels of the body open, keeping you very loose and supple. It's so light and gentle that anybody of any age, from the youngest of 3 years of age up to people of 80 or 90, can do it.
But it's physical and mental.
Yes.
And does it have this philosophy that most of the other Chinese Oriental arts
Oh,
have?
yes, very deep philosophy. As a matter of fact,
A whole approach to life.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the 8 basic stances, there are 13 now, but original there were 8.
So these are physical stances you're talking about?
Yes, like physical, taken after the names of animals. Came into being some 6,000 years before Christ, 8,000 years ago, and were formulated by the Taoists.
Can you really, through this, cure many diseases? I mean, I know you claim this for yourself, but is it because of TaiChiWorkshops?
Yes, TaiChiWorkshops does in itself have great therapeutic means. People who have arthritis will find in fact they'll get great benefit from the relief of stiffened joints. It is shouldn't be put under the same category as Kung Fu or anything like this. It is very, very light and gentle. Some people may have seen pictures of the Chinese doing it in the parks, old men and women just going through these very slow, gentle movements. And it is this that has this therapeutic side of very gentle exercising without trying to gain muscular strength or dynamic power, but utilising the natural energies of the body.
And so it's the exercise of these gentle physical movements that in fact can help you when you have, for instance, things like arthritis.
Oh yes.
But it comes from inside yourself, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Literally, although it is a physical external art from when you are seeing it done, literally the person actually doing it is doing it an internal means of concentration, stability, control. All these, in fact, is done inwardly. The external is purely a means to obtain the internal.
Yeah.
And if people look at it like that way, then they'll realise that it's not just a physical art.
How did you come across it?
It's rather curious, by a very strange coincidence, probably another Chinese fairy tale, really. When I left Dr. Menard Holmes at 14 years of age, I became a page boy in Earl's Court, in a nursing home. And I used to go over to Hyde Park and have a kick around on my day off on Sundays. And I happened to be playing with my ball when my ball actually hit the back of the head of a gentleman sitting on a park bench.
Who was doing these gentle movements?
No, he was sitting there, just sitting there very quietly. And I went over to retrieve my ball, and I came up to the front of him to apologise, and I saw he was Chinese. And we got talking, and he was an importer-exporter, very much alone. He had no family. And I was, of course, naturally an orphan, having no family of my own. And the friendship gradually grew and grew, until eventually, in fact, after many meetings, he invited me to his club in Holborn, Red Lion Square, which he had a little club meeting 3-4 times a week. And from then on, I practiced under him almost continuously.
And I suppose, like all the Oriental arts, it has a very, very long history.
Oh, yes. The particular style that Chan Li practiced and him and his family go back 3,000-4,000 years BC.
I know many of our listeners would like to put questions to you about TaiChiWorkshops, and you can phone in on 353-8111 and talk to Cliff Soo, who's with us through until about 12 o'clock. 353-8111. We mentioned this business about rheumatism and so on a moment ago. What does the medical profession think about all that?
Well, it doesn't clash with anything. If anybody has any doubt at all, then they should go naturally to their own doctor.
Yeah. See, I've read all sorts of stories about how wonderful it all is and how this can be cured and that can be cured. But do you actually claim yourself to be able to cure somebody else?
Well, I've actually claimed I've cured thousands. Still, let me put it this way. I don't cure them. I give them the means of curing themselves.
Yeah. So the medical profession has got no argument with you, but it might very well have an argument with individuals curing themselves and find it mystifying, at least.
Well, yes, but I mean, let's face it, there are many herbal therapies, there are many health stores who sell herbs, there are many people who, in fact, homeopathy, isn't it? There's one over here that do health cures.
So this is just another thing that the medical profession has got to contend with.
Well, it's another thing that the medical profession should have contended with, 180 years ago when they first started? Because we've been in existence now 8,000 years. Yeah. Herbal therapy in China goes back 7,000 years before Christ.
Yes, but if all these things had been all that effective, we wouldn't have needed a medical profession. So obviously it's not the be-all and end-all, is it?
No, but in actual fact, you haven't got anybody in China suffering all that much from arthritis. And cancer is hardly known in China.
You say
diseases.
You say some rather extraordinary things. I've been reading about you, and you say that women should take over the world. What do you mean by that, and why do you think women should take over the world?
Well, I won't say I should think they should take over the world. They will take over the world. Within 200 years, women in actual fact will be having most of the key jobs throughout the world. They are mentally, physically and spiritually stronger than men. They're more perceptive, there are more women mediums and clairvoyants. They are spiritually stronger, and if a man was wise, he would take his wife's advice on many things, because women are very perceptive indeed. And they are, people don't realise it, they are physically stronger too. Women live older than men.
Why do you think then for so long that there has been this assumption that man is the stronger?
Well,
is it women being strong have let men think that?
Well, after all, women is the finest example, really, of how to never to run away and yet to be caught when they want to be. Man couldn't do that. He could run as fast as he liked, but a woman still catch him. But no, this is true. It goes deeper than this. It's as spiritual as well as physical. That women are born, and I don't know if any of our listeners believe in reincarnation, but in actual fact, women do reincarnate less than men. Men reincarnate about 7 times on an average. Women reincarnate 6 times on an average.
What's the significance of that then?
That they are spiritually stronger. They attain spiritual growth much quicker than we do.
I see. They don't need to be reborn
again
to come back as many times as we do.
No, that's true. And therefore,
so reincarnation is a process towards spiritual birth.
Growth, yeah.
Yes.
It is growth. If one looks at one's spiritual life, it's just like going through childhood, juniorhood, teenage, adulthood, then senior adulthood, and so forth, of stages. And this is how we attain spiritual growth.
Has women's superiority got anything to do with the fact that it is the woman who bears the human being, bears the child?
Well, it is very true, because you have the greatest harmony, literally, when a woman who is yin bears a boy who is yang. And no greater harmony could be there when you get a balance of a man and woman being joined. But of course, the woman,
mother and son.
Mother and son.
Yes. Let's look further at reincarnation. I've always found it fascinating because it's not something you can prove, really, is it?
No. One has to live spiritually. And
it applies to most spiritual things, of course. They're very difficult to prove, aren't they?
Yeah, but one doesn't have to prove them. You see, let's face it, all right, we are asked to believe that there is God in existence. Now, we all believe this. We call it the Supreme Spirit. You may call it God. But this Spirit exists, and we are asked to believe it. Now, the Taoists, of which I am, not only believe in it, we in actual fact live according to the rules of the universe, and you can see it going on every day of your life. God walks the streets with us. if we only become more aware of it, more conscious of it, we see the miracles that happen in the streets every day of our lives, and not just only in the Bible.
Believing in a superior being is a need in us, isn't it? It's a need to actually believe that we are not just something that's going to be here for a limited time, that there is something greater than that.
Far greater than us.
Something that in fact created what we are.
Yes, and I think most people believe this. Most people believe inside themselves that
But
God does exist.
Yeah, isn't that because we just simply can't accept ourselves in isolation?
Well, I think most of us really realise just how puny we are. That what is the use of us living on this earth for so many years, then dying at the end of it, and nothing gained?
Also, what use, though, is, to me, as an individual in this existence now, what good is reincarnation if I'm not able to appreciate it when it happens? See, when I come back in this next life, I'm not going to know, I'm not going to be able to, surely, remember the experience of this existence.
You don't have to remember it, because after all, spiritual growth is just an expansion of your true self, which is your spiritual life.
See, if I believed that I was going to be reincarnated, I would be less unhappy about the idea of ending this life. I've got this sort of thing that I want to live forever because life is such a good thing. And
I know, it's
I'd
marvellous.
rather not it end, you see.
I know, well, it's marvellous, but the preparation and the work and the good deeds and the good thoughts that emanate from you in this life is the foundations for your next one. But remember this, your spiritual life does not end when you die here on earth and does not begin when you're born in a baby. Your spiritual growth goes on and on. And so there's no beginning and end to that. It's just continuous growth. So the object and the lesson that everybody should do is what we believe in the Taoism. Do good, think good, help and serve other people all the time, and never hinder, harass or harm anybody. And in living to this code, we in actual fact learn to help everybody, and so doing we help our own spiritual growth every day. So the life we lead now is the foundations that we're going to probably reach higher realms in our next life.
Are we reincarnated as a person, or could we come back as a frog or something?
No, we do not. Animals and trees are of what we know as the lower parts of nature. Man comes back as man in his reincarnation.